Hey guys, welcome to December's Pick Your Part Storytelling. My name is Tim Holmes. I'm the author and illustrator of Peanut Butter and Dragon, Splashfin Toothy Grin, and The Rainbow Buzz. The other books behind me are actually limited edition books that have been created at my Start a Story workshop that I run with children all over the place as we build stories together. And these days I'm doing it virtually as well. But the Pick Your Part story that we're celebrating today is something I do monthly with my patrons at patreon.com. Now, going forward, as of January, you're going to actually be able to have the Pick Your Part storytelling be available to the public. And the way this works is that my patrons, and in the future, the entire public, whether you're a grandparent, a parent, or a classroom of children, you'll be able to pop on to timholmes.com. On the main page, there'll be a link. You'll go to a voting page, and you'll vote on the different parts that you want to see in the story that'll get told at the end of the month. Most votes wins, and we put those parts in the story, and I do my best to tell a great story. This month's story, we're centering on Christmas. I love Christmas. My family's big on it. And I've been working on a Christmas story about some misfit reindeer, and named Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves. And Bobby is a reindeer who missed out on joining the sleigh team when there was a slot open. He missed out on joining the sleigh team all because of Rudolph and his shiny red nose. And so this story is about Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves, and Bobby's jealousy of Rudolph and him trying to mess up Christmas every year. And this year is the year they actually succeed in doing it. And we want to see how that story plays out. So I thought it'd be fun. For the first time, letting my patrons actually make choices based on a story that I'm actually working on getting published. And some of the choices they made are the same that I put in the book, and others are different. So we'll see how this story and this storytelling turns out. But yeah, let's see what happens. They, as always, picked the title for the story as well. And this one, my patrons have entitled, A Christmas to Fix. Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves had a plan to ruin Christmas. Bobby himself had missed out on joining the sleigh team all those years ago when that fancy pants Rudolph had to join the sleigh team with his big shiny red nose, and we had to have fog, and he was so helpful, and he's just been a part of the team ever since. Bobby was incredibly jealous. And so every year, Bobby and his friends Slobby and Hooves have looked to try and ruin Christmas, trying to get Rudolph blamed, trying to mess around with the reindeer since they can't be a part of that team. Now, Bobby has actually been the coach of the flying reindeer this entire time, and he was really the most experienced. He should have had Rudolph's spot, but because of the fog, he didn't. And so he's been coaching all the reindeer this entire time, and he is himself a very talented flyer, and he's done a great job getting the team up and running. But in the past, when it came to that Christmas Eve ride and Santa, the sleigh full of presents, the reindeer ready to fly, Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves would always exact some type of plan to see if they could mess it up and make Rudolph look silly. Now, Rudolph, being the lead reindeer, was responsible for checking all the different safety precautions. Of the harnesses attached, with the presents safely secured, was the sleigh, the sleigh feet, were they properly attached? All those different things. Did we have a clear runway? All of that had to be checked by Rudolph. And so Bobby, Slobby, and Hooves knew this. And so one year, they even tried icing the whole sleigh takeoff runway. And that ended up having a spectacular spin out, but everybody was sort of surviving. It was very safe. No presents didn't even spill. Rudolph caught it really quick. And you know what he did? He called Mrs. Claus and then ended up pouring hot chocolate all over the runway, making the ice all sticky and easy to take off. Oh, that Rudolph was so smart. And then another year, Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves, they loosened all the bolts on the entire sleigh. So soon as it would take off, it would all fall to pieces and they wouldn't be able to fly the presents around for Christmas. But as they got in the air, the sleigh started to rattle, and the elves that always fly around with Santa on his sleigh, the elves heard this and noticed it, and they ran around with their gift wrapping skills and their extra bows and extra ribbons like they always plan to have in case something gets ripped. Oh my goodness, Did they not tie off those bows mid-flight? They towed off all the screws back in with their bows and ribbons, and they were foiled again. But this year, they wouldn't even get off the ground. The reindeer would not fly. The reindeer fly because of magic. And their magic, Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves knew, is directly connected to their stomachs. There is a certain diet that reindeer have to have. And there's peppermint cookies is a big deal. Carrots is a big part of that as well. But they, no matter what, you cannot feed a reindeer eggnog. Eggnog takes their magic away. Just for a little bit. But it definitely doesn't let them fly. And so Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves made sure that they were delivering the reindeer's peppermint cookies just before, as they were all put away in the stable, and they went down to settle in for the night before Christmas. On the 23rd of December, they made sure that Mrs. Claus's peppermint cookies were the last thing they had as they went to bed, and they went to have their bedtime drink of milk. They would have milk all in the troughs in front of the reindeers, and Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves had mixed in just enough eggnog to cause some trouble. And so as the reindeer licked away at their milk, they thought, this milk tastes kind of funny. Must be the peppermint cookies though. And they all finished their milk in their troughs, not knowing that they had just all drank eggnog. They slept asleep, they woke up the next day, and they went to practice one last time, and none of them could take off. None of the reindeer were able to lift off at all, whether they were together or just by themselves. And they realized, what's going on? Our magic is gone. They couldn't believe what had happened. And so they searched and searched, and they went up, they went high and they went low, and they looked for reasons, and they found stashed behind the stables, under piles of hay, they found the empty eggnog containers. And they realized, oh no, we've drank eggnog. We won't have our magic back in time. What are we going to do? Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves were out watching all this happen from a large mountain top nearby, and they were killing themselves laughing. We did it! And they hooved each other high fives, and Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves, they couldn't believe they had actually succeeded. They had done it. They had ruined Christmas. And Bobby was so happy, and he said, Rudolph's going to look like a fool to let that happen. And that's when he went down, and Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves, they couldn't enjoy this from afar anymore. They had to see it up close. And they went down, and they acted all surprised when the reindeer came to them and said, what? Could you believe it? Eggnog ended up in our milk troughs. Somebody must have mixed it up. They didn't think anybody had done it on purpose. There must have been a mix-up. So Santa and Mrs. Claus, they went in Santa and Mrs. Claus's home, and the elves all gathered, and they had a big conference trying to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And that's when Rudolph walked in. And Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves watched from outside the window, enjoying this moment of victory. And they watched as Rudolph took his chance to speak. And he spoke to Santa and Miss Claus. And he said, look, guys, we don't know what happened. We have no idea how the eggnog got on there, but got in the troughs. But there is, and we've lost our magic, but we have to be able to get it back. We have to be able to get it back in time. And you know who's always been amazing at teaching us exactly how to fly? And you know who's always been there to support us and help us? It's Bobby. Coach Bobby is the only one that can save us, said Rudolph. And Bobby kind of looked funny at this, his eyebrows furrowed, and he thought, oh, that's weird. Rudolph's really talking nicely about me. Now I don't feel so good, thought Bobby. And Rudolph went on and on about how Bobby was the only one who could save Christmas. He's the one that could get their magic back in shape. Coach Bobby could save Christmas. And so he saw Santa start to leave his home. And so Bobby quickly scrambled across the street with Slobby and Hooves and pretended to be really, really interested in a snow pile down at the ground, like he hadn't been listening in. And Santa came up and, ho, 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 Bobby, I'm so glad you're right here. Rudolph and I have had a wonderful idea. We believe that you are the only one who can save Christmas. All the reindeer seem to have accidentally they drank up some eggnog, and all their magic has disappeared. We know that eventually it will get out of their system and their magic will come back, but not in time for tonight's sleigh ride around the world. We need your help to get them all in shape, Bobby. And Bobby thought about it for a bit, and he had really enjoyed his victory. He had enjoyed making Rudolph look silly. And now he thought, but was that really making him feel better? He enjoyed it. He thought it was funny for the moment, but he realized how terrible of a thing he'd done and how guilty he felt that everyone thought that he could save Christmas, like he could be the hero. And so he agreed to do it. And he worked out the reindeer harder and harder, and he put together his special workout smoothie, and it made sure that the eggnog got through their systems as fast as possible. And by the end of the afternoon, the reindeer were able to take off just enough to give them hope. And they weren't sure it was going to be enough, but maybe if they all worked together, it could be. And so as they were all strapping in, everybody was double checking the safety harnesses. The gifts were in the sleigh. Santa had his coat on. This was go time. It had to work. And Bobby was pretty confident it would. But then he had a thought. What if it didn't work? He will have ruined Christmas. He couldn't stand there and let everybody be disappointed. He needed to be honest with everyone and let them know. He couldn't let them all think he was a hero. And so Bobby approached Santa and he began to speak. Santa, oh, Bobby, I know you've got us ready. Don't worry. The reindeer look great. Their magic seems to be back. It'll be great, Bobby. And Bobby went, no, Santa, you don't understand. It was my fault. Whatever do you mean, Bobby? I've been jealous of Rudolph ever since he took my spot on the sleigh team. Your spot? I would have been the best contender. I would have made that team, except for the fog and Rudolph's shiny nose. Oh, Bobby, we've always needed you as the coach of the reindeer. You've been absolutely the best guide. I know, but, it's kind of like, that's the big game, Santa. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a part of your sleigh team. I've always wanted that. But I was so jealous of Rudolph that Slobby and Hooves helped me, but it's not their fault. They're my best friends, and they were just doing what I asked them to. But we put the eggnog in the milk troughs. Oh, Bobby, don't tell me you've made it to the naughty list. I made it to the naughty list, Santa. I'm sorry. Oh, Bobby, but look what you've done. You've brought it all back. You realized your error. You began to fix it. Yeah, I guess. Bobby, it'll be fine. We'll take off just fine. Don't you worry. And so, Slobby, Bobby, and Hooves stepped back and let Santa get his sleigh going. And as the reindeer started to go faster and faster down the runway, they took off slower and slower. And as they took off, it looked like they were going to be okay. And then Bobby saw a little shimmer, a little shimmy, a little shake. Oh no, they weren't going to be able to take off in time. And as it was, the sleigh came crashing down and skidded across the icy takeoff runway. And the reindeer all landed in front, and they realized they weren't strong enough. They didn't have enough magic left in them to actually take off. They needed a little bit of extra help. And that's when Santa had his next idea. Bobby, 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 we're going to make your dream come true, and you can keep making up for your mistake. Bobby, we need you to join the sleigh team. We need your magic added to our team. And so Bobby, with big wide eyes, agreed to do it. And Rudolph even unlatched himself and said, Bobby, you should take the lead. And Bobby said, no, Rudolph, you should be the leader. I can watch the team better from the back. I'll coach you all from the rear. And so he got in the last spot in the reindeer line. And they turned the sleigh around and they started to try to take off again. And they galloped and they galloped. And Bobby shouted out different commands to each individual reindeer, trying to coach them, motivate them, get them inspired, and bring that magic back that would allow them to take off. So in combination with Bobby's help and his coaching and bringing the magic back and Bobby's own magic, the sleigh actually took off. And Bobby had his dream of being on Santa's team come true. And his honesty got him off the naughty list. And it was Bobby's best Christmas ever. The end. So, as you can tell, it's very rough. It's a work in progress. But that's how some of these stories go. You got to tell them, you got to work them out. And this was A Christmas to Fix, a pick your part story. Some of those parts were choices my patrons made, and some of the choices were parts that were actually going to be in the book. And I won't tell you which ones. It'll all mix up, and you should see it next year for Christmas. We're hoping to have it out by that point. Until then, I will see you at the next Pick Your Part storytelling, which should be, actually, I guess it'll turn out to be February the 13th. January the 13th on timhomes.com, we launched the public Pick Your Part story. You can go there and start to vote on what story parts you want in your story. And February 13th, you'll get a storytelling of all those choices put together. Guys, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and have fun creating. Cheers.